What's up, Summoners? Happy holidays, by the way. My name is Nathan Ng, and in this video, I'll be running you guys through the new Korean builds for patch 11.24b like always. I'll provide you guys with the newest builds for all 5 roles, so make sure you stay tuned if you want to know how high elo solo queue players are using it to quickly climb their ranks. Also, make sure you hit that sub button so you don't miss out on any future content like this. First up, let's go ahead and talk about some top lane builds. The very first one is for Ryze. Traditionally a weaker pick for solo queue, the preseason has encouraged players to try new builds to make him work. On top of this, he received a massive indirect buff with Archangel's Staff and its price significantly being reduced. Players have come up with a completely new setup for him, as well as incorporated several new items for an even stronger version of the Spellslinger. Let's run through his runes. When playing Ryze, try out the setup: First Strike, Magical Footwear, Biscuit Delivery, Cosmic Insight, Mana Flow Band, Transcendence, Double Adaptive Force, and a defensive rune. In many cases, Ryze puts the new First Strike keystone to good use. Even in shorter trades where he can't make the most out of it, he's able to completely farm up some extra gold off of it. Considering Ryze's incredible scaling and late game presence, it's no surprise that even sacrificing a little bit of utility or damage is well worth the investment. For the items, build Crown of the Shattered Queen, Sorcerer's Shoes, Archangel's Staff, Shadow Flame, Zhonya's Hourglass, and Rabadon's Deathcap. Again, Archangel's was recently buffed, and for this upcoming season, it now provides a ton of ability haste as well as sustain. Crown of the Shattered Queen is a great purchase for Ryze, as the protection it provides gives Ryze a chance to survive any initial attempts to burst him down. From there, he's free to cycle through several spell rotations and absolutely destroy his opponents. By the way, if you're interested in learning how to play as or against any of the champions on this list, contact a coach at ProGuides.com. Our amazing coaching staff has helped countless students rank up before the end of Season 11, and I'm certain that they can help you achieve whatever that you have in mind for Season 12. The next build that we'll cover is for Yone. There's a good chance that you've seen this build at some point, but for those of you who haven't been playing as much during the preseason, you definitely need to keep an eye out for this one. Rather than running Conqueror, Yone players now use Lethal Tempo. As an AD champion, the bonus attack speed obviously increases his basic attack damage. It synergizes perfectly with both the crit chance and the damage that he builds as the game progresses. However, the biggest incentive to use this keystone is that it significantly reduces both his Q and W cooldown. This allows Yone to fight more aggressively during the early laning phase, as he's able to access a significantly shorter cooldown on both of his main trading tools. For the runes, run Lethal Tempo, Triumph, Legend Alacrity, Last Stand, Bone Plating, Revitalize, Attack Speed, Adaptive Force, and a defensive rune. For his items, build Immortal Shield Bow, Berserker's Grieve, Infinity Edge, Death's Dance, Bloodthirster, and a Guardian Angel. It's a standard item build, but equips players with the necessary damage, sustain, and durability to win the game. So that covers the top lane builds, and like always, we'll put them on the screen one more time for you guys to see. Save those or take a screenshot, and let's talk about the jungle next. Kicking off the jungle, we have none other than Ivern. Ivern received a massive buff that recently and honestly evened out the playing field for him against other junglers. He now receives a much higher payout from Krugs than before. Previously, farming them himself yielded a low reward, and it made more sense to donate them to his allies. When counter-jungling the enemy Krugs anyway, it was also rather disappointing, as the leads other junglers would get off of them weren't something that Ivern could recreate. Things were looking better for him moving forward, however. For runes, run Glacial Augment, Perfect Timing, Futurist Market, Cosmic Insight, Zombie Ward, Relentless Hunter, Ability Haste, Adaptive Force, and Armor. Relentless Hunter might sound strange, but it makes 2 of his item purchases much stronger than they otherwise would be. Glacial Augment is a great keystone to run after its mini rework this preseason. As a jungler focused on protecting allies, the slows as well as damage reduction synergizes perfectly well with Ivern's ultimate goal as a champion. His items are Moonstone Renewer, Ionian Boots of Lucidity, Staff of Flowing Water, Redemption, Zhonya's Hourglass, and Chemtank Putrefier. Next is Lillia. Her runes have stayed relatively the same moving into the preseason, but players have been trying out some new items. Let me run through the runes first though. They are Dark Harvest, Cheap Shot, Eyeball Collection, Ravenous Hunter, Celerity, Water Walking, Double Adaptive Force, and Armor. The biggest change comes with her items: Ionian Boots of Lucidity, Crown of the Shattered Queen, Zhonya's Hourglass, Cosmic Drive, Demonic Embrace, and either Rally's Crystal Scepter or Rabadon's Deathcap. Cosmic Drive was slightly adjusted this preseason and now provides what essentially is a weaker version of Phase Rush. Nonetheless, it effectively fulfills Lillia's need for movement speed, so she can go ahead and maneuver around her enemies and utilize her kit effectively. Overall, this build provides a bunch of tankiness, as several of the items provide a good amount of defensive stats as well. Building Rallies will allow Lillia to constantly outrun her opponents, while Rabadon's will significantly boost her damage output instead. That covers up the jungle, so let's go ahead and put the builds up one more time for you guys to watch. As we get close to transitioning to the mid lane, I'll show you guys a mid-jungle combo that's gaining popularity. The combo is Lux and Rammus. With Rammus leading the charge, Lux is free to follow him around in search of roaming opportunities and opponents, or to either get a side lane or get free ganks. Their combined CC is absolutely destructive, and given Rammus' tankiness, they usually have no issues one-shotting anyone they accidentally encounter in the river. When Rammus decides to gank mid, the CC chain essentially leaves zero room for counterplay without cleanse. Even with cleanse, it's going to be burned by a single gank, and suddenly, enemies are left vulnerable until the summoner spell is off cooldown. One other thing about this combo is that as long as Lux wards a pixel brush on whichever side that Rammus is ganking, she can go for a rather non-committal follow-up by walking through the river to get an ultimate range to follow up his taunt. For Lux's build, run Flash and Barrier along with the runes Arcane Comet, Mana Flow Ban, Transcendence, Gathering Storm, Cheap Shot, Ultimate Hunter, Double Adaptive Force, and a defensive rune. Her items are Ludens, Sorcerer's Shoes, Horizon Focus, Rabadon's Death Cap, Zanya's Hourglass, and Void Staff. Rammus runs Ghost and Smite. For his runes, use Aftershock, Font of Life, Conditioning, Overgrowth, Triumph, Legend Alacrity, Attack Speed, and 2 defensive runes. His items are Turbo Chem Tank, Plated Steel Caps, Thornmail, Deadman's Plate, Randuin Zoman, and Force of Nature. In case you weren't aware, Corki has made an impressive comeback during the preseason. The introduction of First Strike has helped several champions accelerate their scaling. Previously irrelevant because of the faster, cutthroat pace of the games, champions like Corki are much more threatening now as they're able to achieve critical mass much faster than before. It also helps that Corki doesn't really need to sacrifice any damage to use First Strike. His bursty trade patterns make use of the Keystone's bonus damage just fine. One daring move players have been experimenting with is running Exhaust and Teleport, ignoring the need for Summoner Flash. With Corki's W as well as access to the package later into the game, it's not mandatory to run it. Instead, Exhaust serves to fend off overzealous divers and gives Corki a chance to peel for himself. Running Teleport is important on Corki as well as it allows him to farm effectively with quick recalls and teleporting back to lane. With proper planning, you can alternate between the package to return faster and use Teleport to instantly return. Later into the game, it enables Corki to either split push or match enemy split pushers on the side. For his runes, run First Strike, Magical Footwear, Physical Delivery, Cosmic Insight, Bone Plating, Overgrowth, Attack Speed, Adaptive Force, and a defensive rune. His items are going to be Mana Immune, Sorcerer's Shoes, Luden's Tempest, Rapid Fire Cannon, Infinity Edge, and either Shadow Flame, Guardian Angel, or Zanya's Hourglass. Malphite is the next mid laner that we'll be talking about. He's always held his place as either a calculated counter pick or a niche cheese that players can bank on for an easy win. Preseason 12 has introduced some new items that Malphite can take advantage of quite well. His runes are quite standard. Use Arcane Comet, Mana Flow Ban, Transcendence, Scorch, Cheap Shot, Ultimate Hunter, Double Adaptive Force, and a defensive rune. For his build, use Frostfire Gauntlet, Defensive Boots, Fimbulwinter, Zanya's Hourglass, Thornmail, and Shadow Flame. Fimbulwinter is an amazing purchase on Malphite as it grants ability haste, health, and mana. And you take once extra health to work with, but the ability haste is great for reducing Malphite's ultimate cooldown, while the extra mana helps him avoid running out during crucial moments in team fights. On top of this, Fimbulwinter also provides plenty of shielding during fights with its built-in passive. There's also Shadow Flame, which gives Malphite that extra damage boost when he needs to one-shot squishy backline opponents. Low health or recently shielded enemies can take full brunt of that extra magic penetration that the item provides. With that one AP item alone, Malphite has no issues realistically one-shotting squishy marksmen or mages, even if the other 5 items are defensive ones. Before moving forward, let me ask our question of the day. Do you have a favorite cheese or off-meta build? Our analyst's favorite build is full lethality Jarvan. Landing his E, Q, and R to instantly blow up any squishy is always super satisfying. When fed, it feels even better to miss the Q and still one-shot your opponent anyway with his ultimate and a single attack. Let me know your answers in the comments down below. That covers the mid lane, so we'll put up the builds one more time for you. Take one last look and let's conclude with the bottom lane. Recently buffed, our first champion for the bottom lane is Kaisa. With the buff to her W's cooldown, it's absolutely worth giving AP Kaisa a try. The cooldown refund is much larger than before, and poking down enemies or executing with the raw damage of the ability is easier than before. For her runes, run Hail of Blades, Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collection, Ingenious Hunter, Mana Flow Ban, Transcendence, Attack Speed, Adaptive Force, and a defensive rune. For items, build Mirror Mana, Ionian Boots of Lucidity, Luden's Echo, Shadow Flame, Rabadon's Death Cap, and Void Staff. Shadow Flame is a great item to include in this build. When trying to snipe already low enemies, the extra magic penetration significantly increases the high damage that her W deals. Combined with the burst of Luden's Echo, it's more than likely that enemies will be caught off guard by just how much damage they can instantly take from a single ability. Our final build that we have is for Quinn. Support Quinn, that is. For this build, you actually want to run 2 offensive summoner spells, both Exhaust and Ignite. She can use her Q for lane push, E for an engage, and to proc her electrocute while also being able to survive a lot. She is played as engage with her W being able to clear large areas, so she doesn't really have to face check. Level 6, she outroams every single support, so she must be able to abuse that. This is because Quinn has decent mobility already built into her kit. She can use her E to create distance, and when trying to roam, she obviously has access to her ultimate. You'll also be running Aftershock with this build, so the extra defensive stats can help you get away without using Summoner Flash. Ultimately, you're going to be playing around your Q to push waves, E for activating Aftershock or engaging onto enemies, and W to avoid having to face check dangerous territory. Once you hit level 6, you become one of the strongest roaming supports in the game, so it's important to take advantage of this. For runes, use Aftershock, Font of Life, Bone Plating, Unflinching, Cheap Shot, Relentless Hunter, Double Adaptive, and a defensive rune. For the items, build Spectral Sickle, Locket of Iron Solari, Defensive Boots, Serax Gauge, Deadman's Plate, and Watchful Ward Zone. Those are the bottom lane builds, so take one final look at the screen for another glimpse at those builds. The Quinn one seems really interesting to me, and I'll definitely be trying it out myself. That concludes the video, and I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below, and also feel free to check out the description for a link to join our Discord. As always, it'd be really great to see you guys there, and you can also be the first ones to find out about the future giveaways that we do. Anyway, stay safe during the holiday season, everybody. Stay healthy, and have a wonderful day. Peace.